The race to replace outgoing BC Premier John Horgan is on, and there's one candidate already pulling ahead. BC Attorney General and Housing Minister David Eby.
He is set to become BC's next premier.
David Eby has big plans to hit the ground running after he's sworn in as premier.
Dave is a guy that is a foot on the gas. He's not going to give up on a fight. If he believes that something is right or that somebody needs to be represented, he's going to stand up and he's going to push, regardless of how big the opponent is or regardless of how big that fight or that challenge is going to be. I think part of that comes from our family upbringing. That was something that our parents had instilled upon us, that if something's not right, you speak up. If somebody needs help, you help them. The circus was coming to town, to the Kitchener Auditorium. Our family had been to the circus in the past. Dave was starting to establish those political movements and participating in the democratic process. So he decided he was going to go to the circus protest. Brought my younger brother along. He was, I would probably guess, maybe 7 or 8 years old. I don't know whether my parents knew whether he was going to be there or not. It is one of those kind of legendary stories that we look back on now and we laugh about, that it was really early roots, early protest situation for Dave, but also trying to embed those beliefs into his younger siblings as well, and show that you can participate in the democratic process.
I met David Eby my first day of law school at Dalhousie. I was on the bus trip to Peggy's Cove for orientation, and I was sitting beside this guy, and I started telling him about how I was worried about the next 3 years and what I had gotten myself into. And he looked at me and he said, "Well, let's start an activist organization." And I was like, "Wow, we can do that?" So he and I started this little group. We put posters up around the school. We called it SALSA, the Social Activist Law Student Association, and the rest, as they say, is history. I know that David and I share a lot of the same values, so it came as no surprise to me when he said that he was running for the NDP. The NDP has the kind of values that we've been working in our careers to uphold, that centering of justice, that role for government to lift people up and make sure that we have strong, resilient, and prosperous communities. I mean, it only makes sense.
David is someone who cares about individuals. He's always trying to make sure that, whether it's young people, whether it's seniors, whether it's people who have, daily concerns like housing, like healthcare, like the environment. He's always inviting. He always wants to make sure that he has enough time for people. I think that the thing that I've been most surprised to learn about is David's work ethic. David, I don't know how he does it, but he is a work champion. He is so good at what he does. He's constantly on the ball. He's never removed from sort of attention. He's always focused on delivering results for people.
The thing that I most admire about David Eby, he doesn't go on the defensive, he goes on the offensive and moves into territory that we've been told for decades, for generation, the left has no business weighing in on. And instead, he goes in and speaks in ways that are principled, that are committed to progressive values, and that actually show that we not only have answers to these questions, we have the best answers to these questions. A moment like this, a moment of such fear and despair, but also hope and possibility, calls for qualities that we're not always used to seeing embodied in the same person. A moment like that calls for someone with a sense of calm, a sense of hope, someone who can reassure and genuinely lead.
I cannot think of another premier out there who is that principled and who is that steeped in the issues with such a commitment to resolving them. I mean, it's easy in politics to stop thinking about what matters and start thinking about your career, start thinking about what the next step is. But I can say, as someone who knows David, this isn't about him. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled that he's premier. You guys, BC, you've got a great premier.